Hey everyone, welcome back to Confessions of a Book Coach, where I'm talking about my publishing journey to publishing my memoir, The Devil's Daughter. So let's start with what I did last week. I finished the last two chapter edits. The entire book has been revised, and I sent the manuscript off to beta readers. That's it. But I did it. So, time to celebrate. And I had this thought about time to celebrate. And then I had this thought, like, what does that mean, time to celebrate? And why is it sometimes so hard to celebrate things? Do you find celebrating challenging, or are you one of those people who like celebrates every little thing? So I think I have two scenarios where celebrating challenges or celebrating not challenges but accomplishments becomes challenging. And the first one is the idea that an accomplishment is too small. Stop it! I have a cat who's attacking things on my desk. When you're live and your cat wants to play, the first one is that the idea is that the accomplishment is too small. Like, it's not big enough. I haven't done enough, right? And so how dare I uh, celebrate something that's just like this tiny little thing that's not even worth it? And if I have this mindset, that means that I will only ever celebrate those, those big monumental wins. And if those are the only things worth celebrating, I'm not going to celebrate very often, because let's face it, how often do we have these big monumental wins? That doesn't happen every day. At least I don't have big monumental wins every day. If you're having those, will you please comment? Because I want to know who's doing this, and I'm gonna interview you, and I'm gonna find out how you're doing it, because I wish we could all have monumental wins every day, but I don't. And so if I don't have big monumental wins every day, maybe I should also be celebrating those smaller wins. That's the thought. And although this is for me a big monumental win, it kind of brought to mind that we do want to celebrate those little things. And I have to say, over the years, I have learned to celebrate those small accomplishments. And when you say celebrate, it's just like, yay, right? Or telling a friend, or something small, something special, right? It doesn't have to be something big and huge every time. So yeah, so I'm getting better at that. And something I've learned as I've learned to celebrate my smaller accomplishments, those day-to-day things, there's maybe something I do a week, is that it helps motivate me. And yes, good riddance too. It helps. I love my cat, don't worry. It helps motivate me, and it helps me be confident, right? It's celebrating those smaller things. It's actually an important part of building motivation and building confidence and believing that I can do those big things and staying on track so I do get to those monumental wins. And today I feel like, that I've had a monumental win. Finished the revision, sent it out to beta readers, as terrifying as that may be. And so, yeah, why is it, if this is a monumental win, I started asking myself, why am I struggling to celebrate it? Right? And so I think there are kind of two things going on here. One, I kind of get stuck in the emotion because it's kind of scary to share your work. And then I get stuck in that old, not good enough messaging. I think that surfaces. And if you decide to read my memoir, you will totally get why I have that not good enough messaging that surface. And so it's like, I shouldn't be celebrating work. Like, I have shipped work, but I shouldn't be celebrating it, because what if the work's not good enough? What if what I sent to my beta readers is crap? Okay, what if it is? What if it's crap? So what? Couple things here, right? So how will I know if my work is market ready unless I'm brave enough to ship something to someone, especially someone who can help me improve it, right? So isn't that a win right there? And so that's the second thing. What am I celebrating? Am I celebrating the quality of the work I shipped, or am I celebrating the fact that I shipped work, that I sent something off, that I asked for feedback, that I allowed myself to be vulnerable, even though it might be crappy work. Isn't that something worth celebrating? I mean, I hope it's not totally crappy work. I don't think it is, but what if it is? What if it's totally crappy work? What if they all say, it's not worth it. It's so bad. Why would we even comment? First off, I think that's unlikely. Beta readers don't generally read books so they can insult the authors. That's not really what it's about. And if one person says negative things and doesn't have any ideas for improvement, well, that's on them, because when you send something to a beta reader, you're saying, hey, look, I'm looking for improvement. I'm looking for your honest opinion and, ideas on not just this is bad, but I didn't connect with the character. I found the character whiny, or there was so much description that I just didn't feel the tension build, or whatever it happens to be, however they describe it. So, and what if every beta reader tells me that my book is not market ready and I need to improve it, and they give me ideas for improvement? I'll be grateful, right? I'll be grateful. Thank you for testing it before it was published. Thank you to them for reading it. Thank you to me for having the bravery to be vulnerable enough to send it to people, to get opinions back before I put it out onto the market. And if they give me ideas to improve it, I'm grateful for that. Thank you for the opportunity to improve it, to get me started anyways on improving it so that it can be market ready, right? These are all good outcomes. So if these are all good outcomes, then isn't this a good thing? Regardless of whether the work is high quality or not. I need to celebrate this, right? So what am I celebrating? I'm celebrating the fact that I was courageous enough to send off work to people to give me feedback, no matter how wonderful or terrible my writing is, no matter how wonderful or terrible my storytelling is. And that's it. So I had mixed feelings sending this off, and now it's done. And I will celebrate, and I will move on. Although I didn't think about how I'm going to celebrate. And so how am I going to celebrate? Okay, so I have a small bottle of Prosecco, and I'm going to share that with someone this week. And I'll tell that person why we're celebrating, and that will be my celebration. And with that thought, I'm going to think about what the other milestones are, small or big, so that as I'm moving along, I can add celebration into the plan, so that I remember to celebrate my work. I remember to celebrate my energy. I remember to celebrate my emotional energy and my effort while writing and publishing this book. Do you celebrate the big things and the little things, or just the big things? And how do you celebrate? I'd love to know. I'd really love to know. All right. So the other thing I want to talk about today are beta readers. I know I've touched on this in the past, but I'd like to just touch on it again. Beta readers are your first eyes on your manuscript. That's like that first, putting it out there, putting your toes in the cold water or the warm water, feeling what temperature the water is, right? They give you your first overall feedback about your storytelling and your writing. And you want to know if your story makes sense, if it's engaging, if it's going to keep people to the end. And so let's talk about beta readers. So where did I find them? I found them on social media. I found them on beta reader groups, Goodreads, Facebook, and I found them in my writing community. And these are people I am trusting to give me a fair and honest assessment of my work, what's working and what's not working. And I've asked them to read, I've asked them, before I sent it off to them, I asked them, do you read memoirs? Because if you really only like sci-fi, there's no point in you reading my book. It's not going to go. So you do want to find beta readers who read books in your genre, right? Not just anybody. So they all said yes. And then I decided I didn't want too many beta readers. 10 max. Because remember, I have to get all this feedback, and then I have to go through it and decide whether I want to incorporate it, or whether it's, something that I think I need to change. And so I don't want too many opinions. I want enough. I don't want one. I want more than one, 3, 5, 7, 10 max. And so I've sent it out. I think I sent it out to 7 or 8 beta readers, if I remember correctly. And so if you want, you could send it out to 5 beta readers, get it back, make changes, send it out to different 5 beta readers. I mean, you could go through this process as well if you wanted, right? That's another way to go about it. And so what did I do? So the first page, I send it all out in one document, and I send it out in a Word document. I mean, I could have sent it out as a PDF or, a variety of different formats, but I decided to send it out as a Word document. And on the very first page, instead of sending multiple documents, on the very first page, I said a thank you, and I gave instructions, and I gave them questions. Now, I will put the questions in the blog post that I'll post after this video, just so I'm not reading out questions to you. So if you are interested in what the questions are, I'll put a link to in the description to the blog post so you can find it and you can read the questions I'm using. I'm just going to just one question, which I think is a little bit unusual. I wrote, what age group do you think would love this book? And I put that question in because there's a piece of me that thinks this might be a YA memoir, but I want to know from other people what they think, because maybe I'm off, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But the other questions, the other 9, because I gave 10 questions, the other 9 questions are pretty average questions, and they're very general questions. So it's not like you don't actually have a lot of writing to do. They're just very specific. So go check those out on the blog if you're interested in that. So I gave them clear instructions, gave them questions to answer. I gave them a deadline of 2 weeks. I also noted in the document that if 2 weeks is not enough, I think it should be, but if it's not, they're welcome to let me know and tell me what works for them. I also let them know that the manuscript needs copy editing and proofreading. I'm not at the stage yet of making it perfect, and it's not on them to find those mistakes. I made that clear to them. I said that I would find those mistakes later. I will do a copy edit and a proofread. Well, I won't, somebody will. I also gave them a warning about the subject matter. My memoir does have some difficult subject matter, and I think it's fair to warn people of that. And so I put all this on the first page, and then came the memoir. And I send it out as a Word. So if a beta reader does not finish my book, what am I going to do? I'm going to ask them why. And that's a perfectly okay thing to do. And if it's time constraints, sometimes people say, yeah, I'll beta read, but then they get busy. That's okay. If the book itself was not their type of memoir, they're like, yeah, this really wasn't my thing. It's not that it was bad. It's just not my thing. Then I'll know that. And if there's a deeper reason, like I just couldn't get through it for XYZ, I want them to tell me honestly what stopped them. And so that's my little spiel about beta readers today. So what am I doing this week? Because something's come to an end, right? That's it. Boom, done. What do I do now? So since this has actually been like a lot of time and energy, it's been quite energy consuming to get this done, and there's a lot of emotion. I'm going to slow down a little bit this week. I am going to review my launch plan and add some to it and, continue to update it. So that's my goal this week, is just to revisit that launch plan, look at it, think about what that might look like. How much work do I want to put into launching this book? Do I want it to slip quietly into the world without much rah, or do I want to go on blog tours and paid ads and this and that? So that's what I'm going to start thinking about this week. And that's it for this week. I'll keep you posted on my progress and the feedback I receive from beta readers as they come in. And I will see you next week.